This changes everything for the Milwaukee Bucks as they dominated the Philadelphia 76ers in yesterday night's game. But more importantly, we saw something from Giannis that we have yet to see before, and it could change the entire landscape of what his performance could look like going forward. So to break that down in this episode, as well as discuss Trent Jr., he received praise from both Giannis and Damian Lillard following a defensive masterclass on Tyrese Maxey in last night's game. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. Before we get into it, if you're a part of the 81% who aren't subscribed to the channel, we just hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support. We're on the road now to 1,500. And again, this is the place to be for daily Bucks content. So if you're part of that percentage that aren't subscribed, make sure to smash that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's just dive right into it. A lot to go over today. And it's a very interesting day because Giannis Antetokounmpo made his debut of the season yesterday, of course. And something that got lost in it was his jump shot. And you can see this here from Bucks Breakdown. This is the most one-motion shot I've seen Giannis' shot look in a very long time. Few different angles here, and slowed it down at the end to get a better look. And I'm going to show you guys the clip right now. If you were watching the game yesterday, one of the takeaways was when he was doing, specifically when he was taking pull-up jump shots, before there would be a little bit of a hitch and a little bit of a stop when he would bring the ball up. Now it's looking like it's one motion, it's smooth, and in the world where a bunch of NBA players are getting their shots tinkered with, most notably Mikal Bridges as of late, seeing this from Giannis is very encouraging. If he can do this and develop a mid-range pull-up, the NBA is probably going to be pretty terrified. And you can see the clip here. So
that's why you've seen,
as you can see, guys hit. It's very interesting. So basically, it's a one-motion shot now, and you can see obviously a step back over Andre Drummond, and with every angle that you see, it gets better and better. One motion, no hitch. It looks smooth, and if he can, we'll dive back into it in a minute here, but if he can do that going forward and develop, again, a pull-up mid-range has been something that he does from time to time. He does his pull-up threes from time to time. It's a very slow jump shot. It has the hitch. It has all these things, but because of how dominant he is in the paint and with his finishing ability, it didn't really matter if he was an elite jump shooter, and I don't think he's ever going to be an elite jump shooter, and I'm not proclaiming that because, again, he struggled from the free throw line again yesterday, and that's usually a decent indicator. He went 9 for 16 from the free throw line. That's something he needs to get figured out. But his jump shot looks way better, and it wasn't just on this one occasion, but again, I'm going to play it again for you guys. If you've been watching Giannis for a while, this is very encouraging. And this was early in the first quarter, and he drills the jump shot, and it kind of took over Bucks Twitter, Bucks, everyone talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, because a pull-up jump shot is something that he's had before, but has never really implemented into his game. And if he can continue to develop a smooth pull-up jump shot, the sky's the limit for Giannis, and he's already one of the best players in the NBA, but just seeing this is very encouraging if you're a Bucks fan. And again, he had a dominant game yesterday, both on the glass, offensively, defensively, and the team looked very good. But seeing this, we haven't seen this before, and this first game of the year, and that's always when you want to kind of look for some new adjustments, whether that's positive or negative adjustments. I bring up Mikal Bridges because he obviously had the opposite effect of Giannis in this case, but for the first game of the year, you're looking for a lot of adjustments, storylines, adjustments that the coaches have made, the coaching staff into the offseason for a lot of the players. Giannis Antetokounmpo clearly made an adjustment to his pull-up jump shot, and it is paying big dividends so far, but most importantly, going forward, if he can continue to do this and continue to play with confidence off of a pull-up mid-range, the Bucks are going to be even scarier than we thought. So let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this, because we saw this, and some fans saw this morning, and we're very, very excited. But moving on now to yesterday's game a little bit more, and I want to touch on Trent Jr. Now, I obviously made a video on the game after it yesterday and discussed how Gary had a great game defensively. Offense left a bit to be desired, and the outpour of support for Trent Jr.'s defense at Tyrese Maxey yesterday came in abundance. And we'll start with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then, of course, Damian Lillard also spoke out. Giannis said, incredible. It's hard guarding one of the quickest players in the NBA full court, always being in front, navigating screens, putting your body on the line, and that's what he did tonight, and it was incredible. And obviously, he had 11 points in yesterday's game, didn't have a steal or anything like that, but his job and his task was to shut down Tyrese Maxey. Again, the Sixers were without Joel Embiid, they were without Paul George, they relied on Kelly Oubre and Tyrese Maxey, specifically Tyrese, to spearhead their offense. And Trent Jr.'s job was to stay in front of him. And the whole game, he picked him up full court. He stayed in front, and I've been talking about it on the channel the whole time. He has the ceiling of being a very good defender. We saw it briefly, in the bubble when he had his crazy good 3-and-D games where he put up like 50 points in the bubble. But most importantly with the Raptors, we saw times earlier on in his Raptors career for the first couple of years where he was playing really good 3-and-D defense, and he's being aggressive. He's really pesky on the ball. And then towards the end, specifically last year, he kind of favored offense more than defense and wasn't playing great defensively. But now in yesterday's game, his task was to stay with Tyrese Maxey the entire game, and he did that. He limited Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese is still going to put up his points, still going to put up his 20-piece. but he stayed in front of him the whole game. He was getting through the screens. He made Tyrese work for every single bucket. And the fact that he was able to stay, and I saw a lot of tweets about it, he was able to stay in front of probably the quickest guard, if not one of the quickest guards in the NBA. And if he can do that for him, he can do that for every single other guard in the NBA. Whether that's obviously different players are going to have different strengths. And I'm not saying he's going to be able to go out there and hold Curry to 10 points. But being the Bucks, it's no secret that the Bucks need defense. So if they can go ahead and have Gary Trent Jr. step up on the defensive end, something I've been clamoring about all offseason was if Gary Trent Jr. can step up defensively, this team is going to be very good. We know they lost Drew Holiday. They lost some other guys. But if they can keep up with Gary Trent Jr.'s defensive ability and they can keep up with other teams in the defensive end. We saw last year, of course, they lost Drew Holiday in the trade to get Damian Lillard. We saw it last year where they didn't have Gary Trent Jr., obviously, but their defense was lackluster. And just seeing the change in structure already is very encouraging. And Damian Lillard praises the Bucks' X factor, Gary Trent Jr. He's looking like the defender Milwaukee has needed at the point of attack. And he basically goes on to say, from opening tip-off, Trent's defensive intensity was palpable. Tasked with guarding the best player, Maxey displayed remarkable physicality. And in case you missed the game yesterday, his ability to stay attached to his man limited Maxey's effectiveness, holding him to just 32% from the field. And, of course, a very early, meaningless stat. But Trent's 102.7 points given up for 100 possessions is top 10 among guards with at least 30 minutes played. And, I mean, the NBA season started 2 days ago, and a couple teams still haven't even played yet, so a bit of a useless stat there, but a very interesting one. And it kind of just lends credence to the fact that I've been saying all along, if Gary Trent Jr., he can unlock the Bucks. He has the ability to do that. He has the ability to be a very good defender. And if he decides that he wants to play great defense, he doesn't need to score all the time. The Bucks won the game yesterday by 15 in convincing fashion with Gary Trent Jr. scoring 11. You have other guys that can score the basketball. And this was all without Chris Middleton. You have Taurean Prince, a guy who stepped up and drilled 4 out of 5 of his three-pointer attempt in yesterday's game. You have guys like Damian Lillard, who's a natural scorer. Giannis, great. Bobby Portis looked phenomenal off the bench, both facilitating and on the defensive end. And, of course, Brook Lopez. You have so many scorers on this team that if you're Gary Trent Jr., just step up, play great defense. The threes are going to naturally come when the defense collapses on Giannis, collapses on Damian Lillard, and is giving Damian Lillard the respect that he deserves on the perimeter and on the interior. The sky's going to be the limit for Gary Trent Jr. to score points. I don't think he's worried about putting up 20 points a game or even 15 points a game. If he can average 14 to 15 points per game, playing the defense he did yesterday on the opposing team's best guard, because he's going to be matched up against the guards. Dame is not going to be guarding guys like Tyrese Maxey. He's going to be guarding the 2 or 3 guard, the guy who sits in the corner for most of the game and is running off-ball screens. That's the guy that Dame's going to guard. So if Gary Trent Jr. can step up and be the pest that he can be and that he is against the other team's point guard and their best player, then the sky is the limit for this Milwaukee Bucks team. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. As well, let me know what your thoughts are on the Giannis new and improved jump shot. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later.